Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Farshad Rouhani. CEO Brad Garlinghouse has contributed to a PAC favoring Senate Republicans, while Ripple co-founder and executive chairman Chris Larsen was among the 88 corporate leaders who endorsed Vice President Harris to be the future president of the United States. I wonder if Chris and Brad talk about politics. Remember, Stuart Alderati also donated to Trump as well. And we never really got a clear answer where David Schwartz stands, whether it's Harris or Trump. But you know, this is actually smart because they're playing both sides. No matter what the outcome is of the 2024 election, it's a win-win for Ripple. But Ripple has other ties to the World Economic Forum. You see, Brad Garlinghouse is tied to the World Economic Forum, as well as Chris Larsen. But it goes even deeper with Chris Larsen. Ripple's executive chair and co-founder is featured as a member of the IMF's high-level advisory group on finance and technology. And that's very important because as we push ahead, I'm going to show you even more ties to the world elite. And, you know, they're all pushing that same agenda, the Great Reset and Agenda 2030, which we'll talk about towards the end of this video. But people said, sell your XRP and buy XLM. But guess what? XLM has ties to both the UN and the World Economic Forum. I think Stellar is even more woke than Ripple, possibly, if that's even possible, because Stellar is tied to CBDCs just like Ripple, but they also have ties to the UN and the IMF. And you see it right here, Stellar Development Foundation, World Economic Forum. But this shows you that you're invested in the right way as well, because when you're investing in what the elites see as the future, the technology that's going to run the entire world and the entire new financial system, you are going to get very rich off of this. I always follow what the rich, wealthy, and elites focus on, regardless of what the market is doing. When the BIS, IMF, World Bank, World Economic Forum, and central banks highlight XRP and XLM, pay attention. Ripple's global payment rails and licenses, plus Stellar's efforts to bank the unbanked, keep me holding and stacking XRP and watching XLM closely. The future is so clear to me, it almost seems obvious. And that's why I've been telling you, they're pretty much telling you, hey, if you invest in these cryptocurrencies, you are going to get very rich off of it. This is what we see as the future. I present Exhibit A. BIS Innovation Hub and Bank Indonesia announced finalists of G20 Tech Sprint CBDC Challenge, who were the only two crypto companies as finalists for CBDCs, Ripple and Stellar. According to the BIS, these findings will be presented to the G20. Why does Ripple and Stellar always have a seat at the table? Because the elites are sitting them at the table. They're saying these two companies are going to run the entire world. This IMF paper explores using Ripple's Interledger protocol and Stellar's compliance protocol as DLT-based solutions for facilitating compliant crypto asset transfers by enabling the sharing of originator and beneficiary information across different payment networks as required by the travel rule. IMF as well, always telling you it's Ripple and Stellar. Now, there's going to be other cryptocurrencies that are going to be tied in here. QNT, HBAR. HBAR is getting more and more ties to the US government all the time. Also working on CBDCs through MTech. Algorand is another one tied to CBDCs, moving the world's money, also tied to the elites. If you invest in these cryptocurrencies, you're not gambling. You're holding a winning lottery ticket. According to the IMF, only 6% of Tether is backed by cash. Tether is exposed to significant risk, which raises consumer user protection concerns. Also, U.S. authorities have limited influence over USDT despite being pegged to the US dollar. Is it clear yet? So when the IMF is telling you that Tether is only backed by 6% cash, they're planning for the fall of Tether. Why else would the IMF be saying this? And now that Ripple's new stablecoin is coming, and we know Stellar is working with USDC, the IMF and the elites are clearing the path for those two stablecoins. Even here in the United States, we are going to have stablecoin regulations because the elites also control the US government. Because the US government has a lot of ties to the World Economic Forum. What I'm telling you is, it's a very big club and you're invested in it. You might not be a member of it, but you're gonna get rich off of it. My conclusion is communism promotes the consolidation of power and control, which is the tell sign for the beast and his system, because the beast always seeks to create top-down systems of control. Remember the New World Order, and I showed you this triangle? Well, if you look at where we are, population and workers, world population control, religion, schools, media, governments, world resource control. You have IBM up there and a lot of other big corporations. World finance control, the IMF, World Bank, BIS, central banks, tax revenue, interest revenue. Now, when you see the BIS, the IMF, the World Bank, and the central banks listed there, who is Ripple working with? They're working with all of those same organizations. Above that is the UN, Club of Rome, etc. But even Stellar has ties to the UN. Then above that is the richest people in the world. People that you don't even know exist. They're not listed on these rich lists that come out. They pay to keep their names off of there. Most likely they just order their names off of there. But that's who you are invested with. And that's why I kept telling you, you are holding a winning lottery ticket as long as you don't sell too soon. But what is Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset? So Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, one world government, fourth industrial revolution. And if you go down this list, you could see things that are already happening all around the world. That's how I know the Great Reset is already happening. The fourth industrial revolution started a while ago. It started back in 2010. The fifth industrial revolution is already starting to pick up traction, and that is AI. You know, inside that new financial system, everybody's always saying, well, under a CBDC, they're going to be able to control all your transactions. Do you think a human's going to be able to do that? No, AI will be tracking everything, saying what you can buy and what you can't buy. Then there's the social credit system, even carbon footprint surveillance system. What is Ripple pushing towards right now? Carbon credits and tokenization. Chris Larson is all about climate change. Then if you keep going down this, you see central bank digital currency. What is Ripple working on? CBDC. What's Stellar working on? CBDC. Universal basic income for compliant citizens. What's going to come with AI that's going to steal a lot of people's jobs, and it's going to make the need for universal basic income astronomical. Everybody's going to be lining up for UBI. I remember when I first talked about that back in like 2022, people said, nobody's ever going to go for UBI. I said, if the government's giving away free money, people will line up for miles to get it. Then there's the Internet of Things. We see that tied to algo. Also, Ripple has talked about that in the past as well. But this is all already building out in the background. Most people are distracted by Bitcoin. And I don't see Bitcoin even being mentioned by anyone unless they're saying it's going to become irrelevant as we go into the future. Now, what about ISO 222? Well, take it from Christine Lagarde.
One of the main topics up there was cryptocurrencies and all sorts of companies now getting into this effort, not least among them Facebook. What kind of threat does this pose to the traditional banking system?
Well, I think you have incumbents, the banks, commercial banks, and you have the disruptors. And clearly the disruptors are having an impact on the incumbents. We just heard a very large systemic bank here saying that they're launching their digital coin, currently piloted in a way within the institutional clients, but to be scaled beyond that. We heard from the European Central Bank that they have launched in November something that is called TIPS, that enables all the banks in the Eurozone to actually transfer instantly at virtually no cost money between them. So I think that the role of the disruptors and anything that is using distributed ledger technology, whether you call it crypto assets, currencies or whatever, and it's far from the bitcoins that we used to talk about a year ago, that is clearly shaking the system. The voice that we heard, which was, I thought, really interesting, were those of the regulators and central bank governors who said, well, yes, this is good and this is helpful.
Take notice how she said DLT and the disruptors are going to be part of the new system. But yet people all over X, these retail investors, want you to believe that ISO is nothing. No value is going to come from that. It has nothing to do with crypto. But they've been telling us that crypto is going to play a very important role inside of ISO. And Christine Lagarde used to work at the IMF. Now she's in charge of the European Central Bank. And she's been talking about Ripple and Stellar all the way back in like 2014 and 2015, when Ripple was getting a seat at all the tables, even back then. Same thing with Stellar. So when you're investing in these cryptocurrencies, you got to pay attention to the much, much bigger picture, or you're going to sell way too soon. So here's the list of ISO 222 coins. You see XRP, ADA, Q&T, Algo, XLM, HBAR, MIOTA, and XDC. I always called them the Hateful Eight. But these are the cryptocurrencies that if you're going to diversify, you want to stay within ISO. Now, there's going to be a few others that are going to be part of this list as we go forward. But that's where you want to park your money. This way, when the new system comes rolling in and goes live, you are going to have money like you've never seen before. Your worries will be gone. You will have all the time in the world to do all the things you ever wanted to do, because you will have true financial freedom. But, you know, now that Chris Larson is backing Kamala Harris, people on X want you to sell your XRP and boycott Ripple. If you want to go down that path, fine, go do it. But you're going to miss out on the one opportunity that's sitting right in front of you. Most likely the only opportunity you are ever going to get in your lifetime to get generational wealth and true financial freedom. And this system is most likely going to start showing real value next year. That's how soon this is going to happen. By 2026, XRP and the rest of these ISO cryptocurrencies, they're no longer going to be undervalued. They're going to start to show their real value and their real potential. You were early, but time is almost up. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.